Welcome to my home garden. Today I'm going to be showing you how to pick your tomatoes and how to make a very basic tomato passata. So lots of people have been saying they've got loads of tomatoes and they don't know what to do with them. I have an absolutely awesome recipe which I've used so many times, absolutely fabulous, and I'm going to show you how to do it. So if you've not already subscribed to my channel, if you could please do so, because I give you lots of helpful hints and tips all throughout the year from my home garden, my allotment and also my home kitchen. So as you can see, I've got a massive basketful here, and I actually had another massive basketful, so I've got absolutely tons, so I definitely need to be doing something with them. And if you freeze them straight into the freezer like that, they just take up so much room, whereas if you make a passata, not only is it absolutely delicious, but you can freeze it in just like small little trays and get it out as and when you need it. So I'm going to pick a few more before I go into the kitchen. So as you can see, I've got some little tiny cherry tomatoes there, which are really lovely. So I've been very fortunate this year, and just when I think I've picked them all, I see what it's almost as if they're turning red before my eyes. So I've had a really bumpy year this year with my tomatoes. So I pull them all off. If you're a little bit short of tomatoes, it is okay if you pick the ones off that aren't quite so red as well if you're making a tomato sauce. So if you're trying to make it up. And if the odd green one drops off or it's not completely ripe, do you know what? I still roast it in the oven anyway. Sometimes I'll leave a few out to ripen on the windowsill. But if I'm desperate to make up another batch and I haven't got quite enough and I've accidentally pulled one off that isn't quite ready, I will just cook it. As long as they're not properly ripe, it really doesn't matter that much. Don't get too het up about them all being completely ruby red. So now we're back in from the garden. So my chickens were making lots of noise while I was out there, so you'll be able to hear me a lot better now. So I think maybe they thought there was something in it for them. So the recipe I'm going to use is a roasted tomato sauce. It's a slight adaptation of the recipe from the book. It's from River Cottage Veg, and I will put a link in the description if you'd like to purchase it. So I'll basically do the recipe virtually as it says, but I don't sieve it, I just whiz the whole lot up. And I've done that for absolutely ages because I found that when I sieved it, it was often too watery, whereas if I whizzed everything up together, it was much thicker and much nicer. And I use a NutriBullet to do that, so that it really does break everything down, including the seeds. If you really don't like the seeds, then take them out. Personally, I leave everything in and just use a really good blender. So you need about 1.5 kilos to 2 kilos of tomatoes for each tray. I'm going to do double the amount, so I've got 2 there. You also need 3 cloves of garlic. You need some marjoram and also some thyme. You also need some oil. I use an English rapeseed oil, and also some salt and pepper, and that's all you need. So it's nothing fancy, it's ever so simple. So you set your oven for gas mark 4, and then you just start cutting your tomatoes up. So this one's got a particularly big stalk, so I'm going to have to actually cut the stalk out of that one. But you slice the tomatoes in half and lay them out on the tray like so. So it's really good idea to do a mixture of large ones and small ones, because I don't know about anyone else, you know, they're not all big tomatoes, and it's perfectly okay to use the smaller ones, but the bigger ones do really add to the flavour. They really do add to the flavour of the sauce if you've got them. So I've got small ones and big ones, and I'm just going to equally spread out the big ones and then scatter the small ones over the top, so like so. So that's my tomatoes sliced and in the tray. Obviously the small ones I don't slice, but the larger ones I do. So as I said before about green tomatoes, it's perfectly okay to use the odd green tomato if one's accidentally fallen off. And indeed in the continent, people do use, in other countries, they do use green tomatoes for cooking with. It's just in the UK that we don't do it. So, or we don't seem to do it anyway. Another top tip is I always leave my tomatoes out on the windowsill rather than put them in the fridge, because I think that the flavour is better when you do that. So I've got my herbs here. So I've got some marjoram, which literally you just kind of break up or cut up, because the stalks are quite tough on this one, and just lay them on top and you roast them. You know, you don't have to do anything fancy with this dish. This is one of the really awesome things. If you haven't got any fresh herbs, you can just use dried herbs, but I do have these herbs in my garden, so I might as well use them. And again, the same, you don't even need to pull the thyme off the stalk, because what you'll find as it cooks, it does just come off as it cooks. So again, it's just so incredibly easy. And then the garlic. So I usually just top and tail it, and then I put it through my garlic crusher. So I've got 3 cloves for each tray. These are obviously homegrown as well, so another way of using up my own crop. So really handy bit of kit this. So if you haven't got one, I can highly recommend it. And then you just push them all through. And again, you don't have to worry about spreading it out too much, because halfway through the cooking process, you will give it a stir anyway. So, you know, really, really simple. So, and again, here we go, just squeeze it over like so. And then all you need to do is a drizzle of oil. Like I said, I've got a lovely English rapeseed oil. Drizzle the oil over. Some salt and pepper. Like so. And then you pop it in the oven on gas mark 4. It says for an hour or so. Now, I generally end up probably having mine in for 2 hours, because as you can see, I've really stacked. I've got higher, nearer to the 2 kilo mark on my trays. So what I'll do is I will set that for an hour on gas mark 4, and I will check it, and I'll show you part way through the cooking process. I'll give it a stir, and then I'll probably cook it for another half an hour to an hour. But again, I'll show you the process as we get there. So these have been cooking for an hour. I've got one on a higher shelf and one on a lower shelf. As you can see, they're starting to, you know, caramelise a bit, and that is what you want. You do want them to start to caramelise a little bit, because the flavour will be much better. So what I'm going to do is just give them a little bit of a stir. Swap the trays over, so the bottom one will go on the top and the top one will go on the bottom. And then in another hour, that should be ready. Now, you don't blitz it up straight away. You wait for it to cool down, because you don't want to put something like that in your liquidizer, because it will ruin it. And also, the flavours, you know, mature a little bit better if you just wait for it to cool down first. So both my trays of tomatoes have had 2 hours in the oven. So as you can see, they've started to kind of like brown and caramelise, so that means they're done. Like I said, I stirred them halfway through, so now all I've had to do, I've let it cool down completely, because that does one of 2 things. It protects your food blender from cracking, and also the flavours intensify, and it makes for a much nicer passata. So the first thing you need to do is just to remove the woody herbs. Chances are that would blitz them up, but you don't want any woody bits in there, so you just remove the stalks like so. The leaves absolutely fine to be in there, but it's just the big stalks you don't want in there. So, and now all that's left is just to blitz it up. So you just scoop it into your blender. Like I said, if you've got a proper blender like this is by far the best thing to use, because you don't, you know, all the seeds all whiz up completely. You don't add any liquid to this, nothing at all. You just put in what's in here, and you might see the odd woody stalk like that, and if you do, just lift it out as you pour it in. So one thing I do use is a little bit of the juices from the actual tray, and I will use all the juices from that tray. I won't waste a tiny bit of it, because it's got all the flavours in it. So, and this will take a little while to whiz up, because you will have to whiz it up in batches, but if I just whiz up one batch just to show you what I mean, you then know what you're aiming for. So make sure you do it nice and tight, because on occasions I haven't and it's ooged out. So you just pop it on the blender and then just whiz it up. So as you can see, that's whizzed up, and that is the consistency you're after. So that's a big difference. When you sieve it, you lose such a lot of the pulp. It really isn't that nice, but this is almost a soup in itself. So I do hope that's inspired you to make some passata, and do let me know how you got on.